Hey guys, wagwan, welcome and welcome back to my channel. Guys, if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Maxine, and if you are a returning viewer and subscriber, wagwan, or big up yourself and welcome back. Guys, I cannot stop smiling, although I'm so tired. I was MIA because I took a little trip to New York. I needed a vacation. I had some things to do. I had some people to meet up with, and I thought, yes, let me just go. Can we just take a moment to appreciate my tan? I am darker. I am chocolatey. I am chocolatey for the first time in my life. I have been loving it. The weather in New York was weathering. The sun was sunning. It was tearing up my skin. But when I tell you that I look good as a dark girl, I am loving life. So I am going to try to give you some little highlights of what happened in New York. New York was such a vibe. New York is such great energy, and it is different because it's not the first time I've been to New York. I've been to New York on many occasions, but this time was by far my best trip to New York, and I'll tell you why. So usually when I go to New York, I visit family and I kind of wait on them to take me where I need to go. But this time, the older, more mature me, the more liberated me, just thought, I'm just going to go and I'm just going to go about business. It was me, just me, solo. I was traveling all over the place and just living my life. So I waited on nobody. If people invited me and they wanted to roll up, that's good. But I always had a plan for the day and I was just doing my own thing. So I left the UK on the 29th of July. I flew from Heathrow to JFK. And when I tell you that everything was smooth sailing, my flight was really early. So that was a little bit much for me. So I took the coach at 2 o'clock in the morning from Birmingham, where I live, to go to London Heathrow because I needed to be there 3 hours before my flight, and my flight was at 9:30. So I could have been there for like 6:30, but I thought, let me give myself some more time in case anything should happen. I'll have more time to recover from whatever has happened. So I got there at 4 o'clock in the morning. So the coach left at 2, and I got there at 4 o'clock in the morning to Heathrow. My flight was very much on time, so we left and we went to New York. I'm going to try to insert some clips because I was taking clips of everything along the way, but for sure I was in the moment. For the most part, I was living my best life. I didn't really have time to video everything, although I had the best intentions. Anyway, I got to New York on the first part of my trip. I was there for 2 weeks. So I was there from the 29th to the 12th. I came back yesterday. I'm so tired. But I thought I'm going to give you this video. I'm talking really fast because I'm tired and I want to get through this video. But usually I talk fast anyway. So anyway, the first part of my trip, I stayed with my brother because the first part of my trip was supposed to be a family reunion. Now, I've got 5 brothers living in the US of A, and I've got 1 living in Canada. So we've got a family group, and the plan was for everyone to meet up in New York where I was, and we'd have a little family reunion. So one of my brothers drove from Florida with his wife. That was just amazing. My other brother I was staying with, so that was 2 of us. That was 3 of us together. No, my other brothers, they just kept forfeiting, postponing things, and yeah, whatever. So anyway, one turned up the following week. But when I tell you that I have not seen my brothers for like, my mom passed away in 2011. I'm not gonna cry, but I've not seen my brothers since then. So it was just so nice to be able to just sit with them and just talk about things and just catch up. Everybody's older now, everybody's more mature, life has changed, and everything was just great. Like I said, I tried to insert pictures and videos along the way. For some of my visits with people, I will have to block their faces out because I don't think they want to be on my video and I have to respect their privacy. Anyway, boy, when I tell you that one of my favorite things about New York is the seafood. So the first night I went out with my brother and his wife, my other brother and his wife, and some other people, and it was seafood boil all the way. When I tell you that I was into that thing, I was into that thing. I was in my element. The music was good. We went to Red Crab. I know that everybody knows about Red Lobster, but we went to Red Crab in Queens, and that was great. So yeah, I forgot to say, I stayed between Queens and Brooklyn. So I stayed with my brother in Queens, and then I stayed with my friend in Brooklyn the second week. So anyway, the first week was that I was just spending time with my brother. But before then, what I was doing was sleeping. When I tell you that when I got to New York, my body said, Maxine, you're going to sit yourself down for 3 days. My body just sat me down for 3 days. I was in bed. I couldn't do anything. The most I could do was get up and have a shower. People were inviting me out and I was like a zombie, like, oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. I was just in bed the whole time, just sleeping under the air conditioner because the first few days that I got there, the temperature was I think it was in the 90s. So the only thing I could manage to do, because my body clock was so messed up, was I went out running in the morning. So I went out running early in the morning, like about 6 o'clock, and it was so hot. I got such a tan. I think this is where I got this tan from. It was so hot, and by the time I came home, the sun was sweltering. So I just put the air conditioner on, even though I had the best intentions to go out, and I just slept. I slept for like 3 or 4 days. Just, I didn't want to know. People were inviting me out, and I just did not want to bother with it. Anyway, so I went to the Queen Center. I had to also change my makeup because I got so much darker. So I had to get a darker foundation. No, I don't know if it was the water in New York or it was how hot it was and my body was just not used to that heat, because we don't get heat like that in the UK. But when I tell you my face broke out, my face was terrible. Now my face looks good and fresh again because I'm back home and things have cooled down a bit. But when I was in Queens, I felt so insecure because usually I have really, really good skin, right? But whenever I go on holiday, especially to where it's hot, then my face breaks out. So my face, I had spots all over my cheek, my chest was a mess, my forehead was a mess. And then when I put makeup on, that made it even worse. So I tried anti-allergy tablets. I tried steroid creams, nothing worked. You can see from my last video where I was asking people for help. But I have been trying to upload that video for about 3 days now. And only when I got home today, that video uploaded. So anyway, I'm back home now. But my face was just stressing me out, and I feel like the more I stressed about my face and how it was the more my face showed that I was stressed, right? My skin was just broken. It was awful. But here's what I want to say about New York, and this is something that I knew before because like I said, I've been to New York on multiple occasions. But why was everything so obvious to me in New York when I tell you that the food portions were way too big? The food portions were way too big, way too salty, and way too sugary. But on the other hand, when I went to places like Red Crab, the food was so nicely flavored. I didn't mind the big portions at Red Crab, to be honest, because I really like the lobster and the blue crab and the snow crab or whatever crab they serve me. That was, yeah, I loved it. I loved it. Oh, I wanted to tell you about my experience. I know I'm jumping backwards and forwards, but I'm just talking freely as it comes to me. So I wanted to talk about my experience when I got to JFK. And I want to put this out there because there are so many videos going around about people are not traveling, people are canceling their flights, people are getting harassed at airports, people are doing this and that. So I'm going to say about my experience. And I just want to say this because I don't want people to have their trips booked and then think that they have to cancel it because they feel like they're going to get harassed at the airport. So like I said, I left from Heathrow. I flew with Virgin Atlantic, got to JFK. There were about 400 or 500 people in front of me. I think 2 flights or whatever might have come in at the same time and it was busy. So there were about 50 lanes for people to go to. There was a man directing you as to where you should go. If you've got a US passport, then you go straight through to that line. And if you've got a visitor's passport, like anywhere else in the country, then you go to the line that I was in. So before I left, I had to fill out an ESTA. I think it stands for electronic something travel authorization. I don't know what the S is for. Go Google it. So I filled that out and I think I paid about 15 or 17 pounds for that. And that is kind of like a permit, but it doesn't guarantee your entry into the US. So once you get there and they run your biometrics or whatever, then they decide that you're okay to come into the country. So I got there and I was in the queue for a very long time because like I said, where people are talking about the airports are empty and nobody's traveling? Absolute lies. My flight was full. I think there were about 10 empty seats on my flight, which was fine by me, but the flight was by no means empty and the airport was by no means empty because like I said, flights came at the same time and there were hundreds of people in front of me. So I was in the queue for about 45 minutes or something like that. So anyway, it was my turn now and I got to the customs officer, which was a very, very nice man. I think his last name was Hernandez and he was so pleasant. I remember his name because of how pleasant he was and really respectful to me. So I got up to him and I said hi, and he said, "Hi, how are you?" And I said, "I'm good, thank you, blah, blah, blah." And then he said, "Where have you traveled from today?" I said, "I traveled from Heathrow." He already knows that, by the way, because it's all on the system. So I said, "I traveled from Heathrow," and he asked me what was the purpose of my visit. I said the purpose of my visit was to see my brother and friends or whatever. So it's private, not business. Personal, not business. So, okay. So I carried on with questions and he said, "How long will you be here for?" I said, "I'm leaving the 12th of August. right? And then he asked me, where in New York will I be staying? I said I'll be staying in Queens, and he looked up and he smiled and he said, "Oh, that is one of the best boroughs." So I said, "Yeah, can you give me some ideas of places that I could eat? Because you know that food is always on my mind. If you know me, you know that I'm always eating. So food was on my mind." So I asked him if there was somewhere that he could recommend that I eat. That was never going to be a problem to me because I've got Google, but it would have been nice to hear it from somebody who thought highly of Queens and the food there. So anyway, he said there's so many places, so he wouldn't even know where to start. And because of the job that he's doing at the time, there probably would not even be enough time for him to go through that with me. And he's got to get through his stuff. So then he asked me what job I did. And I said, I'm a nurse. And he just simply said, put your finger there, put your thumb there, blah, blah, blah. Look into the camera. And then he said, I hope you have a really nice day. And he waved me through. So I'm doing this because people have been talking about people are getting harassed at the airport, and people are getting questioned, and their social media is being searched and different things. Now, when I filled the ESTA asked me for the days that I was traveling, blah, blah, blah. It lasts for 2 years. And then one of the questions on the ESTA was your social media handles. That says optional. I didn't put anything for that because, first of all, I'm not like that on social media, so I don't really know what my handle was at the time when I was filling it, and I couldn't be bothered to go and look. So I thought, before I put incorrect information, I'm just going to leave that bit out. However, if I got to the airport and they wanted to know, I could simply pull my phone out, give it to them, and then they could search for it because I've got nothing to hide, right? So that was that. So while I was watching the 400 or 500 people in front of me, I didn't see anyone getting harassed. I saw everybody being waved through in about 2 or 3 minutes, just showing their passport, answering the questions accurately, and just being waved through to have a very good time. So I didn't see anybody getting harassed and handcuffed and, looking through social media, blah, blah, blah. And I was paying particular attention for these things because of what I've been hearing. So my point is, do not go and cancel your trip. If you know you've not done anything wrong, if you've not broken any laws, if you've not got any misdemeanors, and you've got nothing to worry about. That was the point of that. So anyway, let us leave the airport situation where it is. So I stayed between Queens and Brooklyn, and I had my eyes out for any ice activities. Remember the last time before I left, they were talking about how there were like crazy ice raids going on in Brooklyn. So in Brooklyn, when I was there for my second week, I made sure to walk around the area. I saw absolutely nothing at all. I asked my friend who is a lawyer. She said, although she's heard, she hasn't seen anything. I asked her son, who's out and about everywhere, and he hadn't seen anything either. I was on the streets myself and I saw nothing. No, this is not to say that it's not happening. This is probably to say that I missed it all, or it's a bit exaggerated. So my friend also told me about someone she knows who the husband of went to his immigration interview, and on his way out from the immigration interview, he was arrested on his way out. When his wife questioned as to why he was arrested and what's going to happen now, they said that he had not paid some fines, something to do with his driving, parking, whatever. He hadn't paid some fines and he needed to pay it. Once he paid those fines, even though he was arrested, he was then released and everything is okay. The man is still there now. He's not been deported anywhere or whatever. Anyways, let's move on to the happier part of my trip, the food. The food in the US, the portion is just too big. And that is coming from me, somebody who's always eating. I ate out almost every single day. And I tell you why I loved being in Queens, because there are more Jamaican food shops in Queens than anywhere that I've ever been in life. Queens and Brooklyn, every corner that you walk around, there's a Jamaican food shop. No, sometimes the food is quite pricey compared to the other restaurants. But I remember one day I paid $6.79 for a ginger ale. And I remember the exact number because I was like $6.79 for a ginger ale. I don't even know what I would normally pay for a ginger ale in the UK, but I know that I paid $6.79. And that was actually the first time I took note of anything that I was purchasing. Can I tell you how every single day I had 2 or 3 patties, sometimes 4 because I don't like odd numbers. So every day I had between 2 and 4 patties. Not good. So the first thing that I did yesterday, once I had a shower, was I got on the scale, and thank you, Lord, I only put on 3 pounds. That's why I believe in miracles, because I know for sure with the amount of food that I consumed in 14 days, I should have at the very least put on about 20 pounds, because every time you see me, I was eating something. Every time you saw me, I was eating something and I was always hungry. And like I said, the food that I noticed there, it's got a lot of salt and everything is very, very sweet. I remember, so one of my most important trips was I went to Manhattan. I've been to Manhattan before, but I really wanted to do Manhattan again. And I particularly wanted to do Manhattan at night, which I still haven't done. I did it a few years ago, but not to the kind of degree that I wanted to. So I'm going to have to go back to do Manhattan at night, which brings me to another story that I'm going to make a video of how I got ghosted in New York, right? So anyway, so my first day out was to, I think my first day out was to Jamaica Avenue, and I did a video of that. My second trip was to Manhattan because I really wanted to go to the Statue of Liberty again. I've done it before, but there are some things that I like to keep on repeat because the experiences are always so positive to me. And I just really like to go to the Statue of Liberty. I just think it's just such a beautiful structure, and it just represents strength to me. And I was doing some research on it, so I went on that. The boat ride was amazing. The cost was not too bad. I did the city tour, but again, the sun was sweltering on the day. So I was at the top of the bus and we drove around Manhattan for a little bit. We saw the sights, all the Wall Street, the this, the that, and different things. And then we got on a boat and went to the Statue of Liberty. The music was great. The vibes was good. I was there living my best life. They were playing New York, Concrete Jungle. Yeah, all of that stuff. It was just so nice, so nice, so nice. They could have charged me $1 million and I would have paid it because I loved it so much. So anyway, that was a whole day of activity. Then another time I went to the Queen Center because that's also another spot that I like to go. I don't know what I like about it so much. I just like the Queen Center because it's a big shopping mall and you can get everything that you need. And that's where I had to buy my makeup because I had gone so much darker in those days that I've been out that my makeup would have looked like this when I left. Look how dark my hands have gotten. So I look like this when I left and then I got like this. Yeah. So anyway. So I preferred to match my face to my arms because my arms are out. So it wasn't necessary to match my face to this. That's what it is. So that was the Queen Center. So Jamaica Avenue, Queen Center, Manhattan, Statue of Liberty. I did those. Then I went and I met up with some girls that I went to school with. Now, I left high school in Jamaica in 1993, and since then I've not seen any of these girls. I met up with them. I won't be able to post their pictures because I have to respect people's privacy. Some of them don't even know that I've got a YouTube channel. But when I tell you that it was just so nice to catch up, we have changed, we have gotten older, we're doing all kinds of things with our lives, but the conversation was great, the energy was so good, the food was so good. You know, I was speaking to someone that I am gonna go meet up with these girls that I went to school with, and one of the girls I wasn't necessarily close with, and I was thinking, do I even want to do that? But I was thinking to myself that we're all adults and whatever we were carrying on with at school was never going to apply now, 32 years later. And everybody was so mature and everybody was so good and we were speaking patois and it was just all great. But when I tell you that those girls were putting the food away, and I was just sitting and looking at them and I was like, at one point I literally had my hands on my head like this. I was like, I cannot eat this food. And we went to such a beautiful place where it was in Astoria, Queens, where you get to choose the seafood that you want. It's a seafood place. I think it's called Hamida or Hamila Seafood. And you choose what you want. So they've got the fish and they've got live lobsters and they've got octopus and they've got everything. And you choose what you want and they cook it for you. And when I tell you the fish was like this size, I'm going to show you a picture. So I chose a fish and I chose octopus because I was an octopus in the UK. And they prepared it for you. They offer you a range of how they prepare it and then you choose what you want. And then I ordered some lobster soup because I wanted something hot to drink. Even though it was red hot, I always had to have something hot. And I was drinking tea, and people were like, how can you be drinking tea in this heat? Well, I drink tea, whatever. So I had the lobster soup to start with. But when they started coming out with the octopus and the fish, and then I said I wanted a portion of fries. So I was thinking that when they came out with a portion of fries, because I didn't see, I could see that there were fries on the menu, but there was no way that I was going to be prepared for the, actually, there was no way, nothing could have prepared me for the bowl of lobster soup that they brought me as a starter. My God in heaven, that bowl was so big. I was just sitting there trying to get through the lobster soup. I was just sitting there trying to get through it. Could I get through the lobster soup? It took me the whole time to get through it. And then they brought out bread. And then they started bringing out the food that we ordered. So some people ordered shrimps, some people ordered prawns, some people ordered fish, some people ordered, I ordered octopus, and the lobster soup, and the fries came, and the bread came, and then there was something else, eggplant, I forgot what that was called, and then the drinks came, and the water came, and the table was just so full, and I was like, this is too much, this is overwhelming, I can't do it. And I literally sat there with my hands on my head, and I could not eat the food. I couldn't eat it. The only thing I had was the lobster soup and the octopus, and that was it. That was it. The big fish, I shared that with a friend, and I still couldn't get through it. I could not eat it. It was just too much. It was too much. So I took it home, and I ate it 2 days later, because the day before I had some more takeaway, and I didn't finish that either, because like I said, the portions are so big, and I can't understand why. I have been to New York on so many different occasions, and it's like everything was the first time to me. Everything was just absolutely new to me. Like, how did I not notice that the portion sizes are so big? How did I not even pay attention? I don't know. But anyway, everything was too much. Everything was way too much. So anyway, so that was a reunion of the girls that I went to school with. There was one other girl who was supposed to turn up, and she went to church, so she didn't turn up. Okay, so another time, I was just going everywhere. I went to Central Park, which is my video that I posted just now, and Central Park is just so big. I wasn't able to cover all the grounds, but I'm gonna go back, and I'm gonna go for a run there because it has to be done, and I'm going to explore all the other areas. But it was so beautiful. It was so nice. It was one of my dreams to be there, because one of the places that I've always wanted to visit since I was a little girl was Niagara Falls. Another one was the Eiffel Tower and Central Park. And I've already done the Eiffel Tower and Niagara Falls on multiple occasions. So I was just so happy that I made it to Central Park. So also during my trip, I wanted to go to Canada for a weekend, but it turns out that the weekend that I wanted to go to Canada was the weekend that my brother drove 19 hours from Florida. So I just couldn't jump ship and just abandon him, because he came for me and to see some other friends and family. So yeah, so I met up with so many different people. Some people I had planned for, some people I did not plan for. Some people were tracking me down, trying to take me out, and I was like, nope, can't do it. And the other thing that I didn't want to do was I didn't want to commit to anything with anyone, because I wanted to keep myself free. So if an idea came up, I wouldn't have commitments. I wouldn't have prior commitments, so I could just go and do what I want to do. Because this trip was really about me. Although there was going to be a family reunion at the beginning, it was really about me and what I wanted to do. So I kind of kept myself free. I put people off. I, just went out and did my own thing. So I met up with my friend, and she's just so dear to me. I've known her since I was 10 years old. She was on the reunion thing, but I stayed at her Airbnb. And when I talk about this girl, I want to cry, but I'm not going to, because I put my eyeliner on and it's going to make a mess of my face. But I have loved this girl since I was 10 years old. I've loved her like a sister. She's now such a beautiful woman. She's doing the damn thing in New York. She is taking over the place. She's great. So I stayed at her Airbnb. I met her children, her husband. And when I tell you, her life is beautiful. She's doing so well. She's such an inspiration to me. She's so nice. Nothing's changed about her personality, but she's taken on the whole world, and I love it. I absolutely love it, and I'm here for it. So towards the end of my trip, no, I think it was the day before, or no, the day before I left New York. I met up with another friend because all my friends that are in New York, and I have known them since I was a kid, from about 7 years old. So I met up with my two friends, they're brothers, and I've known these guys since I was about 7 or 8 years old. I went to primary school with them and I went to high school, and then they left and they came to the US. And these guys also made me so proud. This guy, oh, I tell you, these guys looked after me so well. These guys looked after me. One of them owns a yacht. He's a lawyer. He owns a yacht, and they're doing so well. And I'm mentioning this because so many times I hear that Jamaican people are just working, living from hand to mouth, spend all of their lives at work. And it's almost like people think that Jamaican people are not in America progressing. When I tell you that none of my friends that I spoke to you about just now are broke, none of them are broke. These people are not working like slaves. These people have orchestrated their lives in a way that they're doing so well, and they can afford to reap the benefits of their labor, and they are living their best lives, and they're providing for their wives and their children, and they're building great futures for themselves, and they're building generational wealth. And I am so proud. I am so proud. So I want people to stop all the noise where they're thinking that all Jamaicans are just over there doing healthcare jobs and struggling. Two of my friends that I spent time with, they were lawyers. Others are in really, really good jobs, just doing great things with themselves and for their families, and they're living really well. And they had the time to spend with me because they're actually not working like slaves that everybody's trying to sell. That's what Jamaicans do. And their houses are beautiful and their lives are beautiful, and they were able to just show me around and take their time and treat me well. And I felt so special. On my last day, I went on hold on, I'm getting a call. So I was just in my element with the video, and then I got a call, and yeah, so kind of threw me off, but here I am again. So as I was saying, so on the last day of my visit, no, the day before I left, so I met with my friends, and my friend said he was going to take me to lunch, right? And I was like, yeah, everyone knows I like to eat, so let's do lunch. Actually, he's been trying to take me out since I just arrived, but when he tried to take me out, I was busy, and then the other time he didn't feel well, and so it never happened until the last day. But I know for sure that I could not leave the country and not see that guy, because we are like, so we don't speak all the time, but nothing ever changes in our friendship. When I'm telling you that this friendship has been over 30 years of friendship. And so on the last day now, he said, what are you doing? You're really gonna leave and not say hello to me on the last day, and we're not gonna hang out? He said, I want to take you to lunch. So anyway, he took me to lunch, and we went on his boat, and oh yeah, just on the open water, and we went over to the yacht, and the yacht was yachting. The yacht is just the yacht is yachting, right? And we were just chatting and laughing and reminiscing on old times and talking about people who we knew from before, and just catching up, really, because I have not seen this person in many, many years either. And then, so I caught up with his brother and a friend, and yeah, we got chatting, and oh, it was hot. It was so hot on that boat. So after I familiarized myself with his yacht and yada yada yada, they weren't ready to go anywhere because they were going to take the yacht out, but they weren't ready. And of course I was hungry, and my purpose was to have lunch. So my friend said, okay, let's go and get something to eat, and then we'll come back to the yacht and we can go out and eat. So we hopped off the yacht and we went back onto his small speedboat, and we were just zipping across the water. We went to I want to say it's called Island Lobster House. I think that's what it's called. I'm going to insert a clip also when we were rolling up. And when I tell you that I felt like I was living like royalty, I felt so taken care of. I felt so taken care of. I felt so respected. And that was the most important thing. I felt respected. I didn't feel like anybody was trying to get anything from me. I didn't feel like anybody was trying to take advantage of me, whether financially, sexually, none of that. I didn't feel anything. I felt so respected, and I felt loved and cared for. So anyway, we went to Island Lobster House. Of course, I was in my element because I'm a seafood girly. And let me tell you something. I can afford my own seafood, might I add. I can afford my own seafood. But of course, my friend is a gentleman. And of course, he didn't want me to pay for anything because he's not seen me in many, many, many years. And it was his treat to me, and he paid for it. And the food was fantastic. The company was fantastic. The conversation. When I tell you that there was just more laughter than conversation, it was just a fantastic engagement. The atmosphere was right. It wasn't too crowded. It was on like a little island. It was just beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. So anyway, we ate. It was a lot of food again because the portions are too big. But anyway, I tore through that lobster linguine like my life depended on it, and it was so nice. The company was great. So anyway, we stayed there until we ate, and then we left. So we went back on the boat and we went back to the yacht. By then, the yacht had moved and gone somewhere else, close to another little island. So we got back off the boat. No, we went over to where the yacht was, and there was a little party going on there. Now, I didn't go for no party, so I said, can I please go? I'm not staying for any party. I didn't have a bikini because, like I said, I didn't find the swimwear. When I went shopping, I didn't find anything, and it just wasn't at the time for me to be partying on a yacht. It just wasn't that kind of day for me. I just went to catch up with my friend and just to have something to eat, and that's what I did, and it was all worth it. I think I was there for about probably 2 or 3 hours, just chatting and eating and catching up and just sitting around. I sat around on the yacht before the party actually started on there. And then it was all just catching up and chatting. So from there, because of where the yacht was, or boat, or whatever you want to call it, I said I'm gonna go because people were starting to come, and I wasn't on that type of time. So I said I wanted to leave, and my friend kindly booked me an Uber from where we were to Brooklyn, which cost a small fortune, but that was done. And we got on a jet ski. I'm a water girly, right? I like the water, I like the sea. So we got on a jet ski from the yacht. This time we didn't take the boat that we came on. So we came on a small boat to the yacht. Then we went on a jet ski from the yacht to my Uber. When I tell you that I was loving life and I was just sitting there chatting and laughing while we were just tearing up the water, I loved it. Now, New York owes me absolutely not a damn thing. Also, I'm kind of saving the best for last. So, my sister-in-law, I was meeting her in person for the first time, and when I tell you that she's such a beautiful person inside and out, she's beautiful. She's just full of laughter. She's a true woman of God. She's so kind. She made so much time for me. If she didn't take me to where I wanted to go, she would give me instructions, and she would call and she would check in on me. And these little things are important to me. You could give me $1 million, but I would respect you more for your time and your interest. And that's what she showed me. She showed me proper love. So now she's my sister from another mister. She's so kind, so kind. And I feel like my brother is just so blessed to have such a person in his life. And, just going to keep praying for them that continues. Now, the other thing is my friend who I've known since I was 10 years old. I cannot say enough about that girl. I cannot say enough about her family. I cannot say enough about how she treated me. She would check on me every single day. I mean, I didn't see her as often as I would like to because I was out doing my thing on my own. And like I said, she is a lawyer, so she's got her own things to be getting on with. She's got a family. And I'm just a busybody, to be honest, because I had planned to be a busybody on this trip, and that's exactly what I did. But overall, New York is exactly what I needed. New York came in at the right time. There's nothing that I could complain of. There was just one day where somebody wasted my time. No, actually, two people wasted my time. And I'm going to do a story on one of them where I said I was ghosted in New York. Two people wasted my time, but it changed nothing because the time that I spent with other people just completely wiped out my wasted time. One of them was a female and one was a male. They wasted my time, but I quickly found a solution to, recover that time and just to discover new experiences. But overall, New York was 99.9% a completely positive and new experience, although it's not the first time that I've been. So I look forward to doing it again next year, and I thought I would just speak about it because I feel like I'm just bubbling over with the joy and excitement from New York, and I feel like my tan is tanning, and I feel like I need to share it with you. But I'm gonna start to do a little bit more trips. I might be going back to New York pretty soon-ish because there are some things that I need to take care of there. So I might be going back pretty soon. And I think I'll be traveling solo again. Let me tell you something, girls. Let me tell you something, people. Not just girls, anyone. You see those solo trips? Those solo trips are just the best. Those solo trips where you just go and discover places and rekindle friendships and have new experiences. Those solo trips are simply the best. They are the best. I encourage it. I had a fantastic time. When I tell you I had a fantastic time now, oh, I don't know if I mentioned this at the beginning of the video or this is another video that I made and I had to talk about it. When I tell you that I went on the scale this morning and I was so pleased that I only put 3 pounds on with the amount of food that I consumed, God is great. And I have to go back on my fitness thing because the amount of crap that went into this here temple, I need to clean the temple, guys. I need to clean the temple and get myself together again. My issue now is my lovely tan is going to fade. My lovely tan is going to fade away. It's kind of fading already and it's stressing me out. But my skin is back. My skin is back to being beautiful because it's been cooler. My skin is back. Oh, my hair got so dry when I was in New York because it was so hot. And then I went to a water park and the water park was just, the water park was beautiful, but it just dried out my crochet braids. But if I should recommend any hairstyle for a holiday, especially if you're going to be doing water sports, you're going to be out and about, you're going to be in the rain, you're going to be in the sunshine, this hairstyle, if you don't want to wear your own hair, because I played with the idea of wearing my own hair, and that would have been nice, but I would have to be combing every day and keeping it maintained and whatever. But this, I did nothing. I just got up and I went out. My hair needed nothing. When I went to the water park, all I did was I came back, washed it, and it just dried because it was so hot. But it didn't take any effort. It didn't take any time. I just woke up, did this. Sometimes I had to detangle a little bit, especially when I came out the water, and I was good to go. But guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy my experience of New York. These are the kind of videos that I would love to do. It really is. But it takes money and it takes time. Time I can find, but the money, guys, especially because of the places that I want to go and how I like to live. Oh, also, I don't think the cost of food in New York is too bad. You know, when Mr. Trump just came into power and everybody was saying how things have gotten so much more expensive and whatever. The best thing for me about New York was it costed me $2.90 to jump on the bus and get a transfer and I can go on the train or whatever. It cost $2.90. So if I was out all day just traveling, it would cost me about $6 and I could just go wherever. I thought that was just incredible, and for that reason I took advantage of that and I was everywhere. I was on the train, I was googling things to do, I was going all over the place just because I thought the cost means that I should go. Food was easy to get. there's nowhere you're gonna go hungry. I found that the most expensive food that I bought, like as a takeaway, was when I went to a Jamaican food shop. When I went to that fish place where I said you choose your fish and then they prepare it for you, it was two it was about 5 or 6 of us, and there was so much food, and the food costed $250. So that was like $50 a head when you include like the service charge or whatever. So it was nothing to break the bank. It was brilliant. I loved it. I have no complaints about New York. I have no complaints at all. The only problem I had when I just arrived was when I went out running in the mornings, because I used to go out early in the mornings and the roads were kind of quiet. I found that men would approach me in cars and they were quite aggressive. I didn't like it. If I wasn't a strong person, I would feel intimidated. So the only thing that I can say is if you're going to go as a solo traveler, that you choose the time and the places that you want to go properly, just to maintain your safety. Because I remember one morning I kind of felt I felt like a man in a car was just doing too much. Like he was trying to get my attention and I was ignoring him, and then it was acting like he just never wanted to leave me alone. And the thing is, there was nobody around. Nobody was awake at the time because I go running early. And that situation could have escalated into something else. So since then, I left the running or the walking until later in the day when I know that it's a little bit more busy. Because on reflection, he could have just grabbed me in his car and drive away and nobody would have known where I was. Nobody knew who I am. And God knows what could have happened to me. But God kept me safe, and I think he saw that I was not scared of him. Even if I was scared on the inside or I felt a little bit intimidated by him, I showed no weakness. So he got the message and he left. But I'm sure in another life or another time, or if it was another person, they could have done more to get me to do what they want. And yeah, so that's the only thing I've got to say. If you're going to travel solo, just be careful, just be mindful. Make sure that you're changing up your routes. Make sure that you are planning routes where it's a little bit safer. Make sure that you're going at times when it's safer. And if you can find company, then I would suggest that you go with company. I, on the other hand, did not have any company, because who in New York wants to get up and go running with me at 6 in the morning when they've got to be at work at 7 in the morning? Nobody. So yeah, that was that. So stay tuned for my story about how I got ghosted in New York by a subscriber. But don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you again in my next one.